Whether you're married or unmarried, at least 99% of people have failed at relationships. Those stats alone are shocking, and chances are that it will fail again if we don't gain practical knowledge from the source, the one who created us, God our Father. For all of you who desire to have a mate, God knows your desire, and you don't have to repeat it to Him all the time. But rather, prepare yourself for who you're asking God for. So when they come, you have somebody to give that person. It is more important to be single than to be married. Singleness is the foundation of all relationships. If you're wondering why your relationships don't work out and why the opposite sex avoids you, stick around till the end of this video as I answer some of those questions. I love the Word of God. God has given us the Bible, which is our manual on how to live life. Whenever we lack knowledge, the answers are all in this book. In order for us to find out why most relationships don't work out and why there is such a high divorce rate, we don't have to guess or look to media on how society perceives a relationship to be, or look to Hollywood celebrities like Kim and Kanye or Will and Jada, because the media can be quite deceiving at times, and we wonder why we fail at relationships, because we're seeking for knowledge at the wrong places. The Word of God says, "My people perish due to a lack of knowledge." So today, I'm going to be sharing that knowledge with you, straight from the Word of God. It's okay to be single, but it's not okay to be alone. If in Genesis 2 verse 7, the first thing God created was a man, which is a single person from the ground, and He called him Adam. And God gave Adam specific instructions and commandments. God gave Adam the first commandment, where He placed Adam in the Garden of Eden. The word Eden in Hebrew means spot, the presence of God. So the first thing a man needs is to be in the presence of God. The second thing God commanded Adam to do is to work. Work does not mean your job. Work is to become yourself. In Genesis 2 verse 15, don't look for somebody first. And the only way you can become yourself is for you to discover yourself first. And if you don't know who you are and enter into a relationship with somebody who doesn't know who they are, it's like the blind leading the blind. So you first need to find your purpose. The third thing God commanded Adam to do is to cultivate. He commanded Adam to cultivate the land. So the third thing a man needs, he needs to know how to cultivate you as a woman, how to edify you as a woman, how to build you as a woman. The fourth thing God gave Adam and commanded Adam to do is to protect the Garden of Eden. So God didn't make man or gave man that body structure and strength to hit a woman. He gave him that body structure to protect his wife and kids. The fifth thing God gave Adam and commanded Adam, He gave Adam the Word of God. So the fifth thing a man needs to know how to do is to teach you the Word of God, to teach you and your family the Word of God. So if a man does not have all these traits, it is good for that man to be alone. God did not create a couple in the beginning. So the advantages of being single: singleness is the most important state of development. Singleness is the foundation of God's design for humankind. God created one human being from the soil, and He didn't go back. Today we have 7.8 billion people on the earth, and only one came from the soil. So God built the entire creation of humanity from a single man. Your marriage and relationship is only as good as your singleness. Your relationship will never be as good as you. So if you don't like your marriage or your relationship at the moment, you change as a person. The biggest misconception is that we confuse singleness with not being married. And most of us suffer from a disease which comes in many different forms. It can come in the form of depression, not feeling worthy, self-pity, and sometimes even jealousy. It's a disease called loneliness. So in Genesis 1 verse 27, God made man and female. He did not make husband and wife. So those two people were single people. God does not choose your mate for you. God presented Eve to Adam, meaning he paraded Eve in front of Adam. So you have the power of choice, whether to choose that person or not. Singleness is God's foundation. As we see in Genesis 2 verse 18, it is not good for this man to be alone. Which man? The man that is in the presence of God, the man that is working and fulfilling his purpose on this earth, the man that can cultivate you as a woman, the man that can protect you and your family, and the man that can teach you the word of God. So if a man does not have all those traits, it is good for that man to be alone. Alone does not mean lonely. The word alone in Hebrew is so powerful. It means all in one. All in one body. God never begins anything until he has finished it. And we see that in Isaiah 46 verse 10, where he says, declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. The definition of singleness means to be separate, apart and detached, to be unique, original, distinctive and special, whole, to be complete, unified with oneself, to be one with yourself. You are somebody all by yourself. Love can only be complete when the giver is just like the receiver. So what it means when God said it is not good for this man to be alone, meaning it is not good for man to be the only of his kind, as the animals have their own kind. Since God is love and he made us out of love, in order for us to love with the same love God created us, he created a helpmeet. Adam was complete all by himself. He was whole, unique. Adam did not know that he needed somebody. He was too busy being single, plowing the land, in the presence of God, cultivating the land and protecting it. You ready for marriage where you don't need to be? You are not ready to live with somebody until you can live by yourself, until you can love yourself, until you can fulfill your purpose. So it is good for you to be alone and to be single, apart, unique and whole, all by yourself, until you learn to love yourself. The reason why relationships fail is because people are not single first. They are first a couple before they are single. So first learn how to be single before you enter into a relationship, because you're going to be seeking and desiring certain things from the next person which they cannot give you. It only comes from within. It can only come from the God. It can only come from you reading and filling yourself with the Word of God.